Imagine walking down a normal street and seeing a bright orange Lamborghini parked next to a small bread shop, sitting there like it is just another Toyota that nobody bothers to look at twice. Now imagine that same strange scene happening every single day, on almost every street, in almost every corner of one city. That city is Dubai. For car lovers all over the world, Dubai is not simply a place to visit on a normal holiday. It is a dream destination, almost like a religious pilgrimage for anyone who grew up with posters of fast cars taped to their bedroom wall. It is the one city on Earth where seeing $1 million hypercar rolling past is not rare at all. It is actually normal, boring even, to people who live there. People fly in from Germany, the United States, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom carrying nothing but a camera, a full battery pack, and a simple plan, which is to walk around hotels, shopping malls, and underground parking garages just to spot cars that most people will only ever see in a video game, a movie, or a glossy poster. This strange and growing hobby now has its own name, car spotting, and Dubai has become its undisputed capital city. But the real story of why Dubai looks like this, and how this entire culture of car hunting grew into a global phenomenon, is far stranger and far more interesting than most casual observers ever realize. It is a story that mixes oil money, blazing hot weather, young rich kids with too much free time, clever government planning, viral internet videos, and a city that built its entire identity around one simple idea, that bigger, faster, shinier, and more expensive is always better than what came before it. In this article, we are going to travel deep into this fascinating world together. We will explore why Dubai became the undisputed supercar capital of the planet, the strange and slightly sad story of abandoned luxury cars left to rot quietly in the desert sun, the best-known spots where dedicated car hunters go looking for their next big treasure, the wildest and rarest cars ever spotted casually cruising Dubai streets, the massive car meet events that sometimes shut down entire roads, the real people who actually sit behind the wheel of these incredible machines, the enormous supercar rental industry that lets ordinary tourists live like millionaires for a single unforgettable day, the bizarre world of gold-plated and diamond-covered vehicles, the world-famous Dubai police supercar fleet that regularly shocks first-time visitors, and finally what all of this really says about human nature, wealth, and the endless desire to be noticed. By the time you finish reading, you will understand exactly why this small desert city, once known mainly for pearl diving and quiet trade, turned itself into the strangest, shiniest, and most wonderful car playground on the entire planet, and why so many ordinary people now consider a trip there specifically to hunt for cars to be an absolute bucket list dream come true. What makes this whole topic even more interesting is that it is not just about machines, it is about the story behind each machine, the person who bought it, the reason they wanted it, and the entire system of a city that quietly encourages this kind of behavior on a daily basis. Nowhere else in the world has quite the same mix of ingredients working together at the same time: cheap fuel, low taxes, endless sunshine, smooth roads, and a culture where flashy spending is seen as normal rather than shameful. So grab a comfortable seat, because we are about to take a long and detailed ride through every corner of this incredible car-obsessed city. To really understand why Dubai is covered from end to end in supercars, you first have to go back a few decades and look closely at how the city actually grew from nearly nothing into a global icon. Dubai used to be a small, quiet fishing and trading town sitting on the coast of the Arabian Gulf, known mostly for pearl diving and simple trade routes connecting India, Iran, and East Africa long before oil ever entered the picture. Everything changed rapidly once oil was discovered across the wider region in the middle of the 20th century. Oil money began pouring into the broader United Arab Emirates, and while Dubai itself never had nearly as much oil beneath its sand as its wealthier neighbor Abu Dhabi, the ruling family of Dubai proved remarkably smart and forward-thinking with the money it did receive. Instead of relying purely on oil the way many other Gulf nations chose to do, Dubai's leaders used their early oil wealth as a launching pad to build something much bigger and far more sustainable, a city centered around international trade, global tourism, modern banking, and unapologetic luxury. They built massive international airports capable of connecting nearly every corner of the world, huge world-class hotels, and generous tax-free business zones that made it incredibly easy and attractive for wealthy individuals and major companies to relocate their money, their businesses, and their entire lives to this one small desert town. Because Dubai charges no personal income tax and only very low taxes on luxury goods compared to most of Europe or large parts of Asia, purchasing an expensive car in Dubai often ends up costing significantly less money than buying that exact same car back home in a heavily taxed country. On top of these financial advantages, fuel remains remarkably cheap since the country sits right next to major oil production. Roads throughout the city are wide, smooth, and constantly being upgraded, and the mostly dry desert climate, despite the extreme summer heat, means cars almost never face heavy rain, snow or road salt, or rust, which are exactly the things that slowly destroy beautiful supercars in colder, wetter countries around the world. This powerful mix of low taxes, cheap fuel, near-perfect roads, and a naturally dry climate created what is essentially the perfect home for supercars to thrive and multiply. Add to this the simple fact that Dubai attracts extremely wealthy people from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Russia, India, and across Europe who specifically want a safe, modern, exciting second home base, and you get a city where showing off personal wealth through impressive cars slowly became almost a beloved local sport. Young men from wealthy Gulf families, many of them still barely in their 20s, frequently have easy access to enormous family fortunes and naturally see supercars as an obvious, exciting way to express personal status, very similar to how expensive watches or designer clothing might function in other wealthy societies. Over many years, this created a powerful snowball effect across the entire city. The more supercars that appeared cruising the streets, the more this became a core part of Dubai's global identity and official tourism marketing as a city built entirely around luxury, which then attracted even more passionate car lovers, ambitious dealers, and serious buyers, until the whole city eventually became famous worldwide simply for having more Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Bugattis per person than almost anywhere else found on Earth. The government itself also played a very direct role in shaping this outcome, since Dubai's leaders understood early on that global attention could be turned into real economic value, and they leaned into this idea rather than fighting against it. Officials openly promoted the city as a playground for the rich, hosting international business summits, film festivals, and sporting events that brought even more wealthy visitors through the airport gates every single year. Banks in Dubai also made it relatively simple for high-income residents to secure financing for luxury vehicles, sometimes offering loan terms far more generous than what buyers might find back in their home countries, which further encouraged even more people to take the plunge and buy the car of their dreams rather than simply admiring it from a distance point. One of the strangest and most widely discussed parts of the entire Dubai supercar story involves the haunting tale of abandoned supercars, left quietly rotting away in parking lots, and even sometimes out in the open desert sand. For years now, dramatic videos and photographs have gone viral online showing thick dust-covered Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Bentleys sitting completely untouched with flat tires, thick spiderwebs, and piles of blowing sand slowly building up across their once shiny hoods. The real story behind this strange phenomenon is actually connected directly to certain laws within the United Arab Emirates rather than simple carelessness or bad luck. In the past, if someone living in Dubai took out a large loan to purchase an expensive car, whether that loan came from a bank or through a private financing deal, and then later found themselves unable to pay that loan back on time, they could genuinely face very serious legal trouble, including a real risk of jail time simply for unpaid personal debt in certain situations. This approach is very different from how many Western countries typically handle unpaid debt, where financial trouble usually leads to damaged credit scores or vehicle repossession rather than actual criminal charges and potential imprisonment. Because of this genuine fear of arrest, some car owners who ran into serious money trouble, especially during particularly difficult economic periods like the global financial crisis around 2008 and 2009, made the difficult choice to simply abandon their expensive cars at the airport or in random quiet parking areas and quickly fly out of the country before authorities could catch up with them. This left behind eerie, almost post-apocalyptic scenes of expensive hypercars sitting completely untouched for many months or even several years at a time, since nobody wanted to deal with the messy legal complications involved in claiming or moving someone else's clearly abandoned private property. Photographers and curious urban explorers eventually began sharing these striking images online, and the story quickly exploded into major global news coverage, with dramatic headlines calling Dubai a graveyard for supercars and cementing this strange reputation in the public imagination for years afterward. While this particular reputation was often heavily exaggerated by international media outlets, since the vast majority of supercars actually found in Dubai are extremely well-maintained and lovingly cared for by their proud owners, the abandoned car stories were absolutely real enough events to become a permanent part of the city's strange and colorful car culture legend. In more recent years, the UAE government has thankfully updated many of its older laws surrounding personal debt and bankruptcy to feel far less harsh and punishing than before, and local authorities have also become much stricter and faster about removing any abandoned vehicles quickly, towing them promptly away, and eventually auctioning them off publicly if no rightful owner ever comes forward to claim them. Because of these important legal changes, the classic abandoned supercar scene that originally made Dubai so famous online is genuinely much rarer today than it used to be during those earlier boom years. Still, dedicated car hunters who visit Dubai today often bring up this fascinating history during conversations, and some professional tour guides even tell colorful stories about old abandoned car hotspots as an entertaining part of the wider folklore surrounding the city. This unusual mix of real historical events, somewhat exaggerated media coverage, and explosive early internet culture helped build the powerful legend of Dubai as a place where even a Ferrari can apparently become disposable overnight, which only added even more mystery, an appeal that continues drawing curious car hunters from around the entire world to come see the truth for themselves firsthand. For anyone who actually wants to go supercar hunting in Dubai today, there are certain well-known spots that both locals and experienced international spotters treat almost like sacred, holy ground. The single most famous hunting area is probably the bustling strip near the towering Burj Khalifa and downtown Dubai neighborhood, especially the streets and driveways surrounding the Dubai Mall and the various luxurious address hotels nearby. This particular area is absolutely packed with five-star hotels, incredibly high-end shopping options, and busy valet parking areas where wealthy guests frequently leave their cars sitting in plain sight while they wander inside for dinner or shopping. Experienced car spotters know very well that the valet lines outside famous hotels like the sail-shaped Burj Al Arab, the sprawling Atlantis The Palm Resort, and the extravagant Armani Hotel are genuine gold mines for their hobby, since wealthy guests staying at these properties often bring their own supercars or rent one specifically for their trip. And the valet stands naturally become outdoor car shows without anyone ever officially planning it that way. Another major hunting ground beloved by spotters is Dubai Marina, alongside the neighboring Jumeirah Beach residence area, commonly known simply as JBR, where the exciting mix of waterfront restaurants, lively nightlife, and towering luxury apartment buildings means supercars are constantly cruising slowly along the scenic promenade or parked casually outside trendy cafes. Especially once the evening arrives and the brutal daytime heat finally cools down enough for people to comfortably come outside and be seen by others. Sheikh Zayed Road, the massive multi-lane highway that cuts straight through the beating heart of the city, is also legendary among spotters, not necessarily for parking but instead for watching incredible cars fly past at truly astonishing speeds, since this particular road allows much higher legal speed limits than most countries around the world would ever permit, making it an absolute favorite spot for enthusiastic cruising groups late at night or very early in the morning before the heavy daytime traffic fully builds up. Serious dedicated car hunters also know all about specific car dealership districts scattered throughout the city, especially busy areas like Al Quoz and the long showroom row stretching along Sheikh Zayed Road, where curious visitors can simply walk straight into gleaming showrooms and see brand new hypercars from ultra-exclusive brands like Koenigseggs, Paganis, and Bugattis sitting casually for sale, almost like ordinary used cars might sit back home in a much smaller city. On cooler weekend evenings, especially during the more pleasant months between November and March, informal gathering spots naturally pop up across the city where young car owners meet up together to show off their vehicles, rev their powerful engines loudly, and occasionally even attempt small burnouts before local police officers inevitably arrive to break things up. Since Dubai authorities generally do not tolerate reckless driving or organized street racing happening on public roads. Social media has also completely transformed the entire hunting game in recent years, since many dedicated spotters now closely follow specific Instagram and TikTok accounts run by other passionate car hunters already based permanently in Dubai, accounts that post real-time location updates about rare cars they personally discover, turning the whole hobby into an exciting live treasure hunt shared instantly across the wider internet. Some particularly eager hunters even choose to join organized professional spotting tours, where a knowledgeable local guide who truly knows the city inside and out drives curious visitors around to all the very best-known spots within a single busy day, confidently promising them a genuinely good chance of seeing dozens of exotic cars in just a few short hours, something that would honestly take many weeks of patience searching in slower-moving cities like London or New York. What truly separates Dubai from every single other city on Earth when it comes to supercars is not simply the sheer number of them present, but rather how incredibly rare and genuinely unusual some of the specific vehicles are that casually show up on completely ordinary city streets. In most countries around the world, catching a glimpse of a regular Lamborghini Huracan or a standard Ferrari 488 would already feel like an extremely special, memorable moment worth stopping the car for. In Dubai, however, these particular models are honestly considered almost boringly common, somewhat similar to how a regular Honda Civic might be casually viewed on the streets of most other major cities. Dedicated car hunters instead search specifically for the truly rare machines, cars where only a small handful of examples exist anywhere across the entire world. It is genuinely not unusual at all for spotters wandering around Dubai to photograph incredible cars like the Bugatti Chiron, of which only a few hundred total examples were ever manufactured, or stunning hypercars from the tiny Swedish brand Koenigseggs, a specialized company that sometimes produces fewer than 20 complete cars during an entire calendar year. Yet somehow, several individual examples still end up casually cruising along Dubai's busy streets. Pagani, the small and famously exclusive Italian company well known for its beautifully handmade Huayra and Zonda models, also maintains a surprisingly strong presence throughout Dubai, with extremely wealthy buyers frequently ordering fully bespoke custom versions featuring unique paint jobs and interior designs that genuinely exist nowhere else in the entire world. Beyond simply searching for rare brands, Dubai is also widely famous for the kind of wild, personal customizations that would honestly never get approved anywhere else on the planet. It is genuinely common to spot cars fully wrapped in shiny matte chrome, elegant rose gold, or even cars completely covered from bumper to bumper in real, genuine gold leaf, something that has now become almost a running inside joke among experienced car hunters, who fully expect to see at least one gold or diamond-themed vehicle during any serious full-day spotting trip through the city. There have been multiple, well-documented cases involving cars featuring genuine crocodile skin interior upholstery, custom diamond-encrusted badges and emblems, and one particularly famous example involving a Mercedes SLR McLaren that was entirely covered head to toe in real gold, complete with a matching gold-plated engine bay underneath the hood, which became a massive viral sensation online for many years afterward. Personalized license plates add yet another fascinating layer of strangeness and social status to this already colorful culture, since in Dubai, short and remarkably simple number plates, especially those featuring just 1 or 2 total digits, are widely seen as absolutely massive status symbols and are regularly sold at private government auctions for prices that sometimes reach well into the millions of dollars, occasionally even exceeding the total value of the expensive car the plate is actually attached to. A supercar proudly displaying a single-digit plate is genuinely considered the ultimate flex within local culture, instantly recognized by everyday locals as clearly belonging to someone extremely wealthy, powerful, or well-connected within society. Car hunters specifically watch out for these unique plates as helpful clues during their search, since spotting a rare car featuring an unusually short plate number often means they have successfully found something truly special that is genuinely worth stopping to photograph and immediately sharing online with their community. Sound is another detail that experienced hunters pay close attention to, since many owners in Dubai install aftermarket exhaust systems specifically designed to make their cars roar even louder than the factory setting, meaning a sharp-eared spotter can sometimes hear an approaching hypercar echoing off nearby buildings long before they ever actually see it turn the corner. Even the smallest details, like a uniquely shaped side mirror, a one-off spoiler, or a custom interior stitching pattern glimpsed briefly through a tinted window can turn an otherwise ordinary-looking supercar into a genuinely exciting discovery worth chasing down for a closer look and a proper photograph. Beyond simply spotting individual cars scattered randomly around the city, Dubai also proudly hosts massive organized car meets and events that have gradually become absolutely legendary. Within the global car enthusiast community, one of the most famous recurring events is simply known among passionate enthusiasts as the weekend Supercar meet, an informal but genuinely massive gathering that regularly happens at specific parking areas, most famously near certain popular malls and scenic waterfront areas, where literally hundreds of proud supercar owners bring their beloved vehicles together purely for fun, casual showing off, and meeting other equally passionate car lovers from across the city. These particular events are usually